The following is a presentation of the Matt Talk Podcast Network.
The mind of Pat Popolizio is a wondrous thing. And for you Pac wrestling fans, you'll get to go inside the mind of the Skip each and every episode here on the Pac Mentality Pop-Ins podcast. Now, here's your host, NC State Director of Athletics Digital Communications, Brian Reinhardt.
Wolfpack Nation, this weekend is your last chance to see the 6th-ranked Wolfpack wrestling team in home action. And what better way to kick off the last week of the regular season than with a brand new episode of the Pac Mentality Pop-Ins podcast. Welcome, wrestling fans. I'm your host, NC State Director of Athletics Digital Communications, Brian Reinhardt. And here with me, taking a quick break from some film studying today, is the head coach of the Wolfpack, Pat Popolizio.
Good afternoon, Brian.
Pat, this is going to be a packed episode of the Pac Mentalities Pop-In podcast. It's a lot of P's in there.
Yeah.
But I made the executive decision, no guests this week, even though we've been crushing it lately with some entertaining guests. But there's just too much Wolfpack wrestling action to cover, so you're going to have to carry this episode even more than usual.
I'm ready for it. A lot to talk about. It's been an action-packed week last week, and moving forward, even going to be busier.
And you're exactly right. We're going to take a look back at an exciting night of action and recap the win over North Carolina, then turn our attention to a pair of top 10 home duels this weekend as the Wolfpack faces number 8 Virginia Tech on Friday night. Then number 2 Ohio State is in Reynolds Coliseum on Sunday afternoon. That's right, Wolfpack wrestling fans. There will be 2 top 10 duels in Reynolds this weekend. If you have not done so already, please head over to gopack.com/buy tickets and purchase one for one duel or get a couple for the second duel. You can purchase tickets the day of the matches in the Reynolds ticket office as well. And Pat, on our last podcast, we teased a big surprise for those that came to Reynolds for the North Carolina duel last Friday night. We got messages on Twitter, and I'm sure you heard from fans after the match. But that raised mat was truly unique for an AC school. It was the first time that we had that set up, or any other school had that set up. Take us behind the scenes a bit, and how did the idea come together?
No doubt about that. Big surprise, a lot of planning in place, and very thankful for the people that made this all come together, because it wasn't easy. You know, special thanks to women's basketball being able to move some of their logistics around to allowing us to set that up. And then I know facilities worked extremely hard, even through, the business office, getting some of the moving components. That was something we were working on for a very long time, and actually came together probably the week right before getting the final okay on that. So, you know, it was something rewarding for the guys that are a part of this program. At the end of the day, for all the people that have been helping and supporting this program, this was kind of a token of appreciation for the guys going out there and putting it on the big stage. Because no better dual meet than to do it with the in-state competition. And obviously, I thought it was a very exciting atmosphere.
They are our rivals, so it was always good to get a win over them. But we put out a call to action throughout the week leading up to the UNC duel for Wolfpack fans to fill Reynolds Coliseum. We have such great fans, but it wasn't just them. The band was there, their cheerleaders, the mascots. Former WWE wrestler Hurricane Helms was sitting in the front row. That was the largest crowd to come watch a wrestling match in Reynolds, and I know you and the team were very appreciative.
Absolutely. You know, to continue to build and be one of the, top programs in the country, we've got to continue to grow this fan base. And, it's happening little by little right now. That was a great turnout. You know, people coming down here and, traveling to come to the dual meets. And, we're working on some better seating for people that are obviously actively involved in the program and making that a priority for the people that are back in the program. So this is, things are starting to move in the right direction as far as the fan base goes.
I will say those people can thank me because I have been pushing for better seats court or mat side actually. So we'll see. We're still working on it. We're going to have some different setups here.
Little by little.
That record-cutting crowd saw NC State claim a 26-7 win over number 24 North Carolina and push the Pac's ACC record to a perfect 4-0 as we head into this final weekend. After the two teams split the first two bouts, NC State won 6 in a row to take a commanding lead. The Pac won 8 of the 10 matchups and added a pair of bonus point wins. Pat, we'll talk about some of the individual matchups, but just speak on the team's overall effort in this win.
Yeah, they came out ready to wrestle. And what I like best about it is I don't think it was our best wrestling, which is still part of the training phases we're going through. And, at the end of the day, our focus has to be the end of the year. And that makes it challenging when you get in some of these dual meets because you want to be at your best. And, both you don't understand what both teams are going through. Some teams are doing different kind of training. But for us to go out there and win 8 matches off a very good, tough, competitive North Carolina team obviously made a very big statement where we're at with this program. And even to have a guy, last minute make a change at 165 and even getting the win there. I like the way our guys competed and the pride that they take into this kind of matchup.
And I have to thank Pete Renda for this next term, but we've talked before about manufacturing points for bonus wins. But I don't recall us talking about the importance of defense. In going over some notes of the win over the Tar Heels, in those 8 wins, NC State only conceded 2 takedowns, and both of those were in the first period. So I wanted to ask you about defense in wrestling, just being in good position not to get scored on. How much do you guys work on practice, over in practice, working on defense, and how crucial is it for guys to buy into it?
Yeah, I think that sets the tone a lot of times in the matches. We want to be in a very offensive team. We want to put points up. We want to be aggressive because that's ultimately what's going to win national titles. On the flip side of that, we want to be stingy. We don't want to give up any points, unless somebody earns it. And obviously that happened last Friday. We're wrestling a good team. It's going to happen. And as long as we continue to move forward and be aggressive, we'll be fine. But it's something we focus in on a lot. And I think our guys obviously are very skilled in that side of things. So it works to our advantage at times.
Now, the duel started at 165, like you mentioned, and redshirt junior Sam Malikian got the starting nod. After falling behind 2-0, Sam got a takedown and a 4-point near fall in the second for a 6-point move that paved the way to his 10-4 win. Now, in basketball, he might be called a glue guy. In football, a Swiss Army knife. I'm just not sure what a good wrestling analogy is, but Sam started the season at 149. He's seen action at 157 and even wrestled all the way up at 174 in a duel. Now, this time, it was his first career action at 165, so what made you decide to give Sam the start in this one? How is his versatility helping you with all the different weights that he's been at?
Yeah, you look at Sam Malikian and he defines what, a team player is all about. I think that shows you the kind of person he is. Don't forget he's a engineer major here as well, so he's putting countless hours in on the academic side of things, getting really good grades. And then just shows what he's willing to do for this team. And you need those kind of guys to build a program. We got a lot of those guys associated with this program, the guys that will put the team in front of them because that was last second change. We just had some minor things happen that we needed to make that adjustment right before the duel started. And we felt it was our best chance of winning that night at that weight class. So we made that switch last second. It wasn't something we were planning on doing until after weigh-ins. So, we called upon him. And the funny thing is Sam, we trained really hard this past week for the team and more so for the guys that we knew weren't going to be wrestling in those duels. And Sam, I think, did 2-a-days the last 2 days, lifted earlier that day real hard and heavy, and definitely was not prepared to be thrown out there. And that just shows you the mental toughness a kid like that has to go out, bump up a weight class, and get that win.
After UNC went up 4-3 with a major, the Pack reeled off 6 straight wins. Starting that stretch was Pete Renda at 184 with an 8-0 major decision over number 18 Ness. Pete improves to 4-0 in ACC action, and he's outscored his conference foes 49-6 thus far this year. So that's just incredible. And with this win, Pete was the ACC Wrestler of the Week, and he told me today the first time he's won that award, so I'm glad I nominated him. But Pete, he just continues to go out there and get you points at 184.
Yeah, this is the time for him to shine. It's funny you mentioned that because he's had some really big wins in his career, over the years. And I think just people label him as being that good that we overlook some of those matches. And, Chip Ness has been around and he's won some good matches. So for Pete to go out there and dominate the way he did, I think that tells you, the level he's at. And, we might have seen it in matches where Pete hasn't put up a lot of points, and I think it's just because the level of competition he's been seeing is just, I think he gets up for the bigger matches now where he's at in his career, and no better time for him to open up and let things fly than last week and then moving forward, closing out the season. And I think you're going to see that with him, watching him in the room and zoning in and how focused he is. We're going to see Pete Renda, what he's capable of doing now, and we're going to get a true test this weekend. And I know he's looking forward to it, and I'm looking forward to the challenges that lie ahead for him as well.
Think you're looking ahead. We're going to talk about some of those challenges. A bunch of our guys have a bunch of challenges this weekend, but Michael Machiavello, we talked. He wanted to avenge that loss in last year's duel, and he did so. He got a 3-2 win over number 16 Shade. It was a grinded out battle. Mock got in on the legs in the first period and scored the bout's lone takedown. So he's winning some different ways recently. Yeah,
got to find ways to win against different style of wrestling. And he did that, and I know last year he took that one to heart and made sure it didn't happen this year. And I'm sure those guys, they're probably going to see each other again, probably at the NCAA tournament. Could be a good chance from now to then those guys are going to run into each other again. And I know Mox keeps continuing to improve and working on things that he needs to get better at. And the way he went out, he started firing offense early, and we got to just continue to capitalize on that. But it definitely was a match that you had to grind out, and it was a lot of different opportunities for probably both guys to score, and score was a lot of action actually for a score that was only 3-2, I believe was the final score. So there was definitely a lot of hand fighting going on, and I think it was one of those where we learned some things that match.
And I think Reynolds Coliseum shook a couple of times, and not just from the roar of the crowd, but Michael Boykin had some serious takedowns. He scored 4 in his bout. He won 10-3 at heavyweight and just kept attacking their heavyweight. You said it before, you want him to be more aggressive. He really got after it with a couple of those slams.
Yeah, that was a perfect time to do it up on that stage. It definitely shook the floor a little bit. When we recruited Michael Boykin, that's what we recruited. We recruited an athlete and a wrestler like that's capable of doing those kind of things. And I'm happy and excited to see that he's attacking. If you look, he's basically doubled his attacks since probably the scuffle. And I think he learned that if he's wrestling and he's attacking, he's going to put himself in position to win way more than he'll be in position to lose. And he's doing that now. So this is a good time for him to be firing like that because, again, Friday night, another big match for him, a kid that we lost to early in the year. But I'm sure we're going to talk about that later, so I won't comment too much.
See, you've learned. I've yelled at you once on this podcast already. You adapted. But it's amazing what a couple of top 10 wins will do for you at the scuffle.
Yeah, it'll put you in position to compete with the best guys in the country.
Now, the Reynolds crowd, they got to see redshirt junior Sean Files for the first time this season. He started his second duel of the year at 125. You've said on every other podcast that we'd be seeing him in and out of the lineup a lot this year, but you have to be happy he came away with a 16-2 major and probably would have been a pin if time didn't run out.
Definitely. He's a guy we love having in our lineup. He's a winner. He's a true competitor, and he's tough, and I think you see the style that he wrestles out there. It's not one that's going out to definitely be playing around. So happy that he's back because he sets the tone in a lot of these matches, and just love seeing him compete.
And 133 in the ACC, it might be the deepest weight. 5 of the 6 wrestlers are ranked, including your redshirt freshman Tariq Wilson at 19. Tariq picked up a very crucial 4-1 win over number 20 Sherman, scoring the bout's lone takedown the second. Fans can really see the improvement week to week, and that was such a quality win here for Tariq going forward.
Definitely. That's that's what our program's built on, is improvement. And that's what we challenge our guys to do each week. Because I think if you look where these guys started the season and the progression that Tariq's made, I think he's made some big gains throughout the season and is continuing to do it. And confidence is high right now. He's had some big wins over the last couple weeks. And he's right in the mix of things. And we're still, the good thing with him is we still have time to continue to improve before the season's over. And he will do that. And that's what's making him as good as he is.
And 2 of your hammers closed out the UNC win with a pair of ranked victories. Number 2, Kevin Jack, was in control the whole way and got a decision over number 20 Headley at 141, while Hidley for NC State, number 3 in the country, was the aggressor in the third period. He had 4 takedowns, and with a 12-6 win, those two keep producing team points. They're a combined 25-0 in duels this season.
Yeah, it's great having both those guys in the lineup because they win. Kevin's match score-wise a little closer than he wanted. I can tell he was upset. He wants to put up points, and that's what we want. We want guys that are, he walked off that mat not satisfied, and that's good because now coming Friday, I can tell you he's not going to let that happen again, and we got a good challenge in front of us, so that'll be good for Kevin to go out there and see if he can change that around in 1 week, and I feel good about that. He usually likes putting up points, so we're going to let that one fly on Friday. And then, Hayden, that was a match. For the first 5 minutes, that was a match, and he refused to let that be a match, and I think you saw the determination in him and the focus that he has, and that goes all back to his what he does to prepare each week for his opponent and the way that he trains. He's not going to let somebody sneak up and steal a win from him, and that's what makes him great.
Now, I hope our fans noticed, but the format of the podcast switched up a little bit this week. We put the Wolfpack fans in great moods with this first episode by recapping the North Carolina win first. Now we're going to hit them up with some plugs. If you like our podcast and have not done so already, please go in and subscribe to the Pack Mentality Pop-Ins podcast wherever you listen to all your favorite podcasts, whether it be Apple Podcasts, Google Music Play, Stitcher, and that's just to name a few. And once you listen and once you decide that you like what we are doing, please head over to iTunes and leave us a rating and review. All you have to do is type in Pack Mentality, it's one word, and leave us a review, and you will be entered to win free NC State wrestling gear. If we mention your review on a future episode, free gear is all yours. And of course, that's a great segue into picking out this week's winner. The winner for some free gear I picked out this week is Raleigh Bob for leaving his review on our podcast on February 11th. Raleigh Bob, just DM us on Twitter at Pack Wrestle to claim your prize. And with a name like Raleigh Bob, we better be seeing you in Reynolds this weekend for our 2 home duels. And that's just a perfect segue into talking about the upcoming weekend of NC State wrestling excitement. And I tell you what, this podcast should keep getting better and better each week with these segues.
Well, we got a great host that's doing a phenomenal job, putting out some great stats and good info. What is Raleigh Bob winning this week, Brian?
Brian has to go down to the equipment room and see what is available and what sizes are available.
I think we should definitely pick out something
Raleigh
special.
Bob will get hooked up.
All right.
So NC State.
Well, he's got to show up for the duels, either Virginia Tech or Ohio State. If not, I think we move on.
I said both.
All right.
I mean, let's go big
Good.
on this prize. But NC State returns to home action this weekend as the Wolfpack will host number 8 Virginia Tech Friday night at 7:30, and then make a quick turnaround and host number 2 Ohio State Sunday at 4:30, also in Reynolds. Pat, the Wolfpack fans showed up for that win over North Carolina, and we would love once again to see Reynolds packed red for both of these top 10 matchups.
Big weekend, no doubt about it. We need that support. These guys fuel off that energy. It makes a great atmosphere for college wrestling, and it would be great to see that filled up again on both Friday and Sunday.
Now, against the Hokies, we're going to be celebrating senior night as NC State will honor 9 seniors prior to that ACC duel. 6 of the seniors right now are currently ranked in starters, and those 6 have combined for 463 wins here at NC State, all with at least 60. Pat, it's been a while since you've had this many seniors on his squad, but this group really laid the foundation to what has turned into NC State being ranked in the top 10 every week over the last 3 years.
When you look at what these guys have done over the last 5 years, it's been unbelievable. Their commitment to NC State and just all around, developing this program. These guys are a huge part of this, and definitely their work does not go unnoticed. They're winners for a reason, and it's been a great just keeping these guys together for as long as they've been here. That's the reason why there's great chemistry right now. And the best part about it is they've cultivated the younger guys as well. And now that's creating a great culture and a lot of leaders, not just here at NC State, but you're going to see these guys go on to the next phase of their lives and do something special. And still, I think you're going to see these guys. These guys care about NC State athletics and wrestling here, and they're going to be around. They're going to be around for the long haul.
So this season actually marks the third year in a row both NC State and Virginia Tech come into the final weekend of the regular season with identical 4-0 records in conference action. The dual Friday night will determine the ACC dual championship. Pat, one of the first team goals you guys set out was to finish undefeated in ACC duels for the first time since 2000. So needless to say, there's a lot on the line Friday night in this top 10 battle.
Yeah, the guys, that's coming from the team. That's obviously we have our goals as coaches, but at the beginning of the year, these guys wrote their goals, and that's something they're zoned in on, and that's what's going to make this a great duel because I know, Virginia Tech as well has got the same goals, and that's what you need. You need good, hard competition to get you ready for the next phase of this season. And no doubt about it, it's going to be a great dual meet, action-packed with some very high-level, hard-nosed wrestling.
And while working on some notes this week, I came across this stat, which to me speaks at how improved the ACC is. Over the last 3 seasons, NC State ranked second nationally in dual winning percentage, having gone 50-4, while Virginia Tech is close behind, ranking third nationally with their mark of 48-5 over the last 3 years. Only Penn State has a better record than these two conference teams. The battles between the Pac and the Hokies have been fun to watch recently, and this should be another one to add to the archives.
Those are some impressive stats right there. No doubt about it. And I know both teams obviously have wrestled a very challenging schedule, so those are no, cakewalk wins for the majority of them. So that's impressive on both teams.
I'm not sure if you meant impressive that I found that out and figured that out, or if that's impressive.
You're impressive in every aspect when it comes to stats. No one can challenge you there.
One day I will get paid to host this podcast, and it'll be.
We're getting there. You got to start somewhere.
We're getting there. But the Hokies enter the duel at 14-2. They moved up to number 8 this week in the national rankings. Pat, second duel in a row. 18 of the 20 starters for the two teams are ranked in the NCAA coaches panel, and we could be seeing 8 ranked matchups. This should be a tough fight for the Wolfpack.
No easy matches come Friday night. We're well aware of that, and that's what's going to be that's what's going to make this a great dual meet. And it has the last couple of years. There's been some very intense, hard-fought battles, and I know, a lot of these guys are very familiar with each other. I'm sure they've wrestled some guys back and forth over the years. So, we got to come in ready to challenge for the ACC dual championships.
And we talked earlier about the 133-pound weight class in the ACC. Tariq finishes his season facing 4 in a row that are ranked. Virginia Tech's Dennis Gustafson sits number 18, and he was the ACC champion in this weight class as a true freshman in 2014. We've said it in every episode about this weight, but another good matchup on paper.
Definitely. This is going to be another one action-packed. I think it's going to have a lot of say in, obviously every match is going to matter. So this is one, obviously these guys are neck and neck with each other with some good quality wins this year. And it's one of those I'm looking forward to see where we're at. We get to get tested again. And, it hasn't been an easy schedule for Tariq since second semester, but he's been ready for these challenges and has continued to improve. So I think he got a great test last Friday, another one coming this weekend. So it's going to be good, hard-fought battle for him.
And the Hokies have had some movement at the 149 and 157 weight classes lately. Number 16, Ryan Blease, has secured the starting spot at 149, it appears, and that's actually pushed up 2-time All-American Solomon Shisko up to 157. What does it say about Blease that he's starting at 149 over a 2-time All-American?
I think it was a good move for him. It's shown that dropping down to 49, he's had a lot of success there. So that's another matchup that's going to be neck and neck. I think, one of those, we just got to go out, wrestle, and let it fly. And I know both those guys are very aggressive, great conditioning, and it's going to be another good match that fans are going to want to see, because I think it's going to be pretty high scoring match there. 57, yeah, they've made some changes there. I like where we're at. And our style of wrestling, I think, matches up pretty well at 57. Doesn't matter. I know they've switched some guys there, and no matter who they wrestle, you're going to get a tough, hard-nosed match. So we're ready for that. And I think, Hayden, if you've seen him wrestle and his style and his conditioning, he's going to be in a good spot mentally and physically for whoever they throw out on the mat to compete.
I'm sure the matchups everybody is looking forward to come at two of the upper weights, where the Pack and Hokies combine for 4 wrestlers ranked in the top 8 nationally at 184 and 197. At 184, number 3 Rendo will take on number 8, 2-time defending ACC champion Zach Zavasky. And at 197, number 7 Michael Machiavello faces number 2, 2-time All-American Jared Hott. How crucial are these matchups for both teams?
These are big. I think obviously 184, there's a lot of history there with those two guys. So the good news is we've had a year off to develop and get better technically. And we haven't obviously wrestled. Pete hasn't wrestled in a year, in this kind of dual meet. So he's made some big improvements on the technical side of things. And I think it's been healthy for his development and growth. And I think this is where those kind of things come out and shine now, is the bigger and better competition you get to see. You gotta utilize, your training and the stuff that you've been working on. And I think we'll see that out of Pete. And it's definitely going to be one of those matches that's going back and forth. And, we know that and he knows that. And it's just one of those, you got to be ready to battle, and nothing's going to be given. And that's what you want at this time of the year to get you ready. Because, again, these guys are probably all going to see each other at some point again. Obviously, ACCs and NCAAs, so this is just another match to kind of prepare you for that. And then 197, I know this is a match Mock's been looking forward to. You get a chance to wrestle one of the better kids in the country that's proven himself. You want that opportunity. And we want to see where we're at and get in that true test right now at this time of the season. There's no better time to see that, and it's one of those where he's going to get that basically back to back on a Friday and Sunday. So it should be an exciting weekend from Machiavello.
Again, Wolfpack fans, secure your tickets now and come to Reynolds Coliseum this Friday night to watch NC State and Virginia Tech battle for the ACC dual title. Visit gopack.com/buy tickets or stop by the ticket office the day of the duel. And while you're getting those tickets to the Pack and Hokies duel, go ahead and get your tickets for Sunday's duel against number 2 Ohio State. And Pat, that's another great segue. But with Virginia Tech being Friday night, what made you want to schedule Ohio State for Sunday and having 2 duels in this last weekend of the regular season?
One of those kind of just getting high-level competition this time of the year. You have your whole season to prepare you for this moment. And it's I kind of look at it like the level of competition, whether it's you could switch those duels to a Sunday, Friday. It doesn't matter what team you wrestle first. You're getting 2 really high-level guys. Obviously, some guys are ranked as high as number 1 in the country, 2, 3, wherever you're at. It's going to prepare these guys. You get to the national tournament, you're wrestling back-to-back high-level competition. So we needed that. This is a true test. We get to do it at home. Little break in between. And, NCAAs is a 3-day tournament. So obviously we're not wrestling on Saturday, but still got to make weight and do your adjustments you need mentally. Whether you win or lose, you mentally have to turn around and wrestle a high-level guy on Sunday, and you got to be ready to battle just as hard as you were on Friday, whether you're a little sore, tired, whatever you're feeling. And we need that test now so we can be ready come March when it matters most at the NCAA tournament.
You wanted competition. I would say you got it. Ohio State has been ranked number 2 this entire season and comes to Raleigh with a 13-1 record. 9 of the 10 Buckeye starters are ranked in the top 10 in their weight class, with 5 ranked in the top 5. Pat, needless to say, this is a pretty talented team when you look at their records and rankings.
Absolutely. You look at the body of work Coach Tom Ryan's done. He's done a phenomenal job building that program up and producing national champs every year. And we want to take that on. We want to know where we're at as a program and be ready for that level of competition. There's no doubt about it. And what people are telling me too is there's a lot of Ohio State fans in Raleigh that are going to be coming out to this match. So I challenge our fans to make sure that we drown that out and have a very good support group of people that are here come Sunday for that as well. We need Friday and Sunday.
I would say the same thing with Friday. Virginia Tech has been known to travel well.
Yeah, absolutely. Good programs have a good fan base that travel. They support their team, and there's a reason why they're, one team's obviously in the position to win a national title, and year in, year out, Virginia Tech's one of the top teams in the country. So, we got to keep keep building on that and our fan base, because all that stuff plays into the results.
Ohio State is led by two-time defending NCAA champion, 2016 gold medalist, 2018 world medalist, Kyle Snyder. Last time Wolfpack fans got to see Snyder was in action against the Pack in the 2016 NCAA finals when him and Gwiazdowski went to overtime, and some consider that the best heavyweight match of all time. Whoever gets to start at heavyweight for the Pack, whether it's Michael Boykin or Malik McDonald, how must they attack this matchup?
You just got to go in there. Obviously you're wrestling best guy in the world that's won gold medals, world championship. So you have nothing to lose in a situation like that. The guy's used to winning his whole career. So you want to see where you're at. You want to see, if you can score offensively on him, you're doing something right. And if you can stay in those matches and win certain positions, you can make steady gains, because he's obviously the highest level, the world level. So, college wrestling is different. It's obviously a different game, and mat wrestling plays in certain areas. So it's one of those. You gotta rise to the occasion, and not let history catch up and be a part of that. At the same time, you got to respect somebody at the level they're at. So it's not an easy task to do. No matter who's wrestling heavyweight in that kind of situation. But I'm excited to see who shows up to compete and how they go out there and carry themselves, because that I think defines, no matter who you are as a person, it says a lot about a guy if they're willing to step up and compete against that high level competition and not, I would say, more embrace it than run from it. And that's what we want as a program. That's kind of why we're wrestling the level people we are, the programs we are, so we can embrace that challenge and not run from it. Because at the end of the day, when you get down to the national tournament, you're going to hit these guys, and you got to be ready to roll and believe in everything that we're doing, and that you can win a national title. You got to have that confidence.
A little bit of Wolfpack history here. Back during the 2016 season, as a redshirt freshman, Malik McDonald faced Missouri's Jaden Cox in a duel here in Raleigh. Cox went on to the 2016 Olympics and got the bronze medal but that day against Malik, he only got a 5-1 decision, and that kept the score close enough where Gwiazdowski came in, got the tech fall in the final bout, and NC State pulled out an 18-17 win over number 5 Nebraska, and that capped that 23-1 season. That was a great performance by Malik back then.
Yeah, and that was one of those two. It was decided right at weigh-ins that he was going to wrestle, and you get in these dual meets, all those little matches like that, those are little victories, whether you win or lose, saving a major, getting the majors, those play out big time at the end of the results in dual meets when when you're neck and neck winning 5-5, those bonus points can play a huge factor in it. And very well could be that, as we get in these next couple duels, that could play out. If our guys come ready to compete, we're going to need to score some bonus points, and at the same time, if we're in position and maybe it's a guy gets caught in something, you got to defend that off, because you watched a lot of duels this year. That's the deciding factor in a lot of them, and it's better to be on the winning side of that than the losing side. That's for sure.
And back to the Ohio State matchup, I think we could break down every single individual match, because there are going to be a lot of top 10 battles against the Buckeyes. But 125, 141, 157, 184, 197, they all feature wrestlers ranked at the top of their weight classes. And we mentioned him earlier talking about Virginia Tech, but 197, Michael Machiavello, he'll face number 2 Hot Friday night, and then number 1 Moore on Sunday. Maybe at the NCAAs you'll face number 1 and number 2 in consecutive matches, but a pretty historic weekend of matches for Mock closing out his home career.
Definitely, and I like where we're at for this challenge, because this is something he feeds off of. He knows it's a challenge for him, and he's ready. He's been training the right way and smart, and it's just like I told him, be ready to go in the national tournament seated on the bottom side or the top side, and you're going to have to beat one of these guys, and then you're going to have to face the next guy in the national finals. And that's the mentality you got to take on this, is let's treat it like that and see where we end up. Because they're both guys that are very well accomplished and great wrestlers and have had a lot of success. So it'll give us a true test of where we're at, and continue to work on things, and it'll be exciting to see where we stand when this weekend's over at 197.
And we could see a great battle at 125 with Sean Files and former national champion and 3-time All-American Nathan Tomasello. This is a little bit of a different contrast in style. Sean, people might describe him as tall and lanky. Tomasello is more like a typical 125-pounder. He's a little short and compact, but this could be a matchup we'll see at the NCAAs.
Yeah, no doubt about it. That is two guys with two different styles. Both guys, I feel like, wrestle extremely hard and are true competitors. It's one of those matches we got to be ready for and know, you're wrestling a guy that's got experience and has won at the highest level in all levels. So, good test for us. We need it. And that's why, that's why we're wrestling a team like Ohio State on Sundays, to see where we're at and what we need to do moving forward. But definitely like the attitude of our guys, and they're ready for the challenge that lies ahead for the weekend.
In the battle at 141, these two have combined to place third at the last two NCAA championships, but never faced each other in a college duel. Kevin Jack will take on number 7, Joey McKenna, who transferred to Ohio State from Stanford. They're combined 27-2 this year. What are you looking forward to in that matchup?
It's one of those, I think you said it, both guys have produced at the national tournament, so both have experience, and I think offense is going to be key. What guy gets their offense going, and I know we like to attack a lot, so that's going to be very interesting to make sure we continue to score points and put them up and let things fly. And it's one of those where both these guys have been the top guys of 41 year in and year out. They've been at the top. One of the I don't know exactly where in the rankings at times, but they've been up there, and they've never faced each other. Maybe in freestyle, which isn't obviously our best style. So I'm not going to really count that too much against Kevin, because his freestyle career isn't all that accomplished. So, in folk style, they haven't wrestled, and I think this is the first time they're going to match up and wrestle, and it'll be another good, entertaining match.
And the last one I want to touch on, it's a classic Pennsylvania versus Ohio battle at 157. Redshirt freshman Hayden Hiley will face 2017 All-American Micah Jordan, whose brother Bo's the starter at 174. But yet another match you could see late on Friday or Saturday at the NCAA championships.
No question about that one. And that's, again, that's going to be another great test for us. And it's what we need right now, because he's been very dominant in a lot of his matches, and this is another one that, level of competition obviously is going to be up there, and we got to get up for it, getting through Friday and turn around Sunday. These are just like you're going to see at the national tournament. You're going to have a high, maybe it's a low, maybe you squeak by a win, and now you got to be ready for a guy that's maybe more accomplished, and you got to get yourself up for it on the next day or 2 days in. So that's why we're doing this, and I like the test that. Get the test to see where we're at, because I think it's a good style for Hayden. It's going to be very hard-nosed, a lot of good hand fighting, and we'll see who gets their offense going. But I like where we're at and the level of training that Hayden's been able to do over the last month.
That was a lot of information we gave the Wolfpack fans, and without a guest, we really did a lot of talking. You had your coffee over there. I had my hot tea, but we powered through it. The guys are getting 2 matches. We gave the fans a long podcast here today.
Yeah, it was well needed, because there's a lot to cover from last weekend, and then moving forward, this is a big weekend for NC State wrestling, and keep things moving in the right direction. So we appreciate everybody coming out to the matches last Friday and continuing to support us this weekend.
I think I'd be safe in saying this might be the biggest weekend of home duels in very recent history, but even going back in the record books for you guys.
You can't forget that weekend that we were at the barn. It was good. It was similar stuff Friday and Sunday.
I did like the whole Hauser, but that year that was the Virginia Tech, Missouri double dip there. Yeah. So another great weekend that you set up here. And Wolfpack fans, we hope to see you in Reynolds Coliseum this weekend as the Wolfpack host number 8 Virginia Tech for top ACC bragging rights Friday night, and then host number 2 Ohio State on Sunday at 4:30. Buy those tickets on gopack.com/buy tickets. Pat, thanks for stopping by. Thanks for breaking it down. And we want to see everybody out there for both duels this weekend.
Let's fill up Reynolds.
I want to thank everybody for listening today. This is your Pack Mentality Pop-Ins podcast covering all things NC State wrestling. Until next time, Wolfpack wrestling fans, go Pack!
The Pack Mentality Pop-Ins podcast is produced by the Mat Talk Podcast Network. For more wrestling podcasts, go to MatTalkOnline.com.